Hello and welcome everyone. Today is Wednesday, September 27th of 2023. My name is Juan. I work as a guide for the Central Park Conservancy, and I'm very happy to reconnect with all of our longtime virtual walkers and all of you who are joining us recently, our new connections. To everyone watching on YouTube, thank you for keeping connected and even sharing this video as well. Please say hello and where you are tuning in from in the comments section, be it on YouTube or on this platform. I already checked and I saw that some of you are tuning in from Stanford, from the communities nearby in Central Park, the Upper East and Upper West Side. It's a pleasure to be in your company. We'll be together for approximately some 20 minutes and I'll bring you through some very interesting landscapes, and we'll be connecting to how volunteering impacts Central Park. So without much further ado, let's begin moving about. But as always, our mission here at the Central Park Conservancy is to preserve and celebrate Central Park as a sanctuary from the pace and pressures of city life. A little bit of housekeeping before we move on. As you know, we're using Zoom as our platform to connect today. If you have any questions, you can use the chat feature. But if you have questions for which you want answers, use the Q&A feature. My colleague Carla is on the back end helping us find answers to any questions that you might have. And I'll be launching a poll as well in the presentation. If you'd like to not participate, you can just X out. It's very easy, very straightforward, and I'll be sharing the results immediately soon after. Before we officially engage on our walk, just a little bit overview of Central Park. Those of you who have been walking with us for the last 3 years now, wow, amazing. You know a lot about Central Park. You know that Central Park is entirely designed, and this image that you have here at the very top is a reflection of that original design, which began to be implemented in 1858. Now, the park has been around for about 160 years in the middle of Manhattan, and different generations have faced challenges in keeping it together. The last period when the park fell into great disrepair was in the period of the 1970s and early 80s as well. The park wasn't doing too well, but things began to change late 1970s and 80s when groups of volunteers really began to gather their resources and began picking up trash in the park, painting benches, and fixing it, restoring it, bringing it back to its original intention. Now, volunteers are people who genuinely care for the place that we'll be talking about today. And you already know Frederick and Calvert, the designers of the park. I think that if the park is to embody everything that they intended, that will come about when we work the park and keep it together with a degree of care and attention that we can see reflected by thousands of volunteers as they engage dutifully, helping operate the park and helping it keep it together for everyone to enjoy. So we'll see some reflections of how that manifests in the area that we will be exploring today. This is a map of the park. As we know, Central Park is a very big space. It's 843 acres of territory. And our walk today is going to be focusing on the southern end. We're going to enter at 6th Avenue and Central Park South. But before we enter, I want to launch that poll that I mentioned. I want to know who has volunteered in any capacity in any institution, either in your earlier years. I myself, I'm now in my 30s, but my first work experience actually in the United States was in a volunteer department at the New York Presbyterian Hospital in northern Manhattan, and that completely shaped my understanding of what work was meant to be for my future. So I want to launch that poll. You'll see it popping up on your screen right now. We have about 170 people tuning in. I'd love to see everyone answering, and I'll give it a few moments, and then I will share the results. we could literally walk anywhere in Central Park and see evidence of how volunteerism helps shape those particular areas and also enhance the visitor experience. I see the results are coming in still on the poll. Over 80% of you have answered, so I'm very grateful. Thank you. I'll end the poll now and share the results. As we see, out of about 170 people that we have here, over 80% have answered. And wow, over 70% of you who participated have engaged in volunteerism. And for those of you who haven't, perhaps Central Park could be an opportunity for you to engage in that very powerful and rewarding experience. And I'll be sharing some information towards the end of our visit where you can engage with just that. So I'll stop sharing the results right now and move along on our walk. Our tour, our virtual presentation is going to consist of several stops. This is the map. This is the route that we are going to be following. We'll begin, as I mentioned, on the southern section of the park at the entrance right off at 6th Avenue and proceed north, making our way towards the west at around West 66th Street. Now, it's been raining a lot in New York in the East Coast in the last couple of days. I waited and waited to get a break and get some very nice images, but I had no reprieve. We had 4 days of rain due to tropical storm Ophelia, and today I got to pinch myself because I think that I'm dreaming. I mean, it's been too long with cloud cover and continuous rain. So very, very happy that the weather has turned. And although the images will look a little gray on this presentation today, hopefully the topic will bring some light and joy to the last couple of days that we've just experienced here in New York. And this is the image. So you can see gray skies, typical traffic atmosphere. Just up ahead, the greenery that you see, that's a Central Park. We're going to move forward and go across the street. And there's always a lot going on in Central Park. But you can see evidence of volunteerism just immediately as you enter into the park. Go past these pedicab operators and these barricades over here, and immediately you find one of our information kiosks. We have several information kiosks throughout Central Park. This one is located at the very southern end of the park. And when the weather is more favorable, when it's not raining and particular times of the day, from 11 a.m. up until later in the afternoon, this will be staffed by one of our volunteer greeters. And this image that I'm showing you here is one of our volunteer greeters staffing one of our information kiosks, more or less by around 72nd Street, close to the western section of the park. Greeters provide information about the park. They help with wayfinding. If you're looking for something specific, approach one of these kiosks, and the volunteer greeter there will be more than happy to help you and engage in conversation, welcome you, and also give you some tidbits of information that can make your Central Park visit very, very rewarding. Picture here is volunteer Mary, who is one of our most active and dedicated greeters. Last year, she was chosen as a recipient of a Daily Points of Light Award for her outstanding and inspiring service work in Central Park. Now, Daily Point of Light Awards honor individuals who literally changed the world, and this is what's literally happening with our volunteer force in Central Park. They're changing visitors' experience in the park and transforming landscapes left and right. Now, Mary has been volunteering for 12 years as a greeter and also in landscape management, helping staff members during corporate groups, school groups, family and teen sessions. A lot going on, and hopefully in our walk, as we see how the park is looking, we'll see those reflections and gain a greater understanding of volunteering in Central Park. If you'd like to learn more about Mary's contributions, you can do so by visiting the link that Carla will be dropping on the chat box. Thank you, Carla, and thank you, Mary, for your outstanding service. Let's see, moving along over here, just past this information kiosk over at 6th Avenue. We enter into the park and we can see the landscape is looking pretty green. And I was surprised to find that there is evidence of some very special colors that we traditionally associate with spring and summer. These are summer lilacs, and they are symbols of new beginnings. Very apropos as we have transitioned into autumn, and we are just super excited over the changes that this new season will bring. Moving past this bush, the lilacs, we go on top of this hill here where we are greeted with this rustic shelter, which is called Copcot. From Copcot, we can see some very nice, picturesque, rustic benches, a very nice space to just sit down, relax, and enjoy the surrounding atmosphere. Now, I want to also share this historic image because you can see Copcot in the background. This image was created in the 1860s when Central Park was not entirely completed. Construction for the park began in 1858, and you can see this reflection of the typical structures that were part of this section of Manhattan before the park was built. Yes, Central Park was built in essence to so that New Yorkers could have a piece of the countryside in the middle of the city, but it was also built to enhance the real estate industry. And from Copcot, you can see some incredible developments. If you just look south, you can see these incredible towers lining the southern perimeter of the park, with the Steinway Tower here to the left, where the penthouse apartment is selling for north of $50 million. And off to the right here, the Central Park Tower with a penthouse listed at over $90 million. Now, moving north from Copcot, we can see evidence of the current weather phenomenon that we've been experiencing. Trees do fall when we have severe weather, and this was the case with this incredible period of substantial rain that we received. At the Conservancy, we are diligent to care for landscapes and clear sections where trees have fallen. Now, on this program, I want to bring you to a crescendo, or walk you through a crescendo of sorts. We experience a rustic shelter, Copcot, and as we continue north from Copcot, I'm going to bring you to Chess and Checkers, which recently opened, and it's another space where you can engage with our wonderful volunteers. This is looking east. We're going to make a left by where this visitor is here with the umbrella. To the right, you can see the Woman Rink, a place that will be very soon activated with an ice skating rink, and people will be able to create incredible memories of their visit in the park. Moving north, we go up an incline, and to the left, we can see that other rustic shelter called Chess and Checkers House. This is how the approach looks, a set of steps that brings you to the top of this hill, which happens to be called the Kinderberg. Kinderberg is a German word that means a children's mount. And in naming it so, this pays homage to the group of German immigrants that helped in the process of building Central Park back in the 19th century. This is an image that shows you the original design intended for the top of this hill. Unfortunately, this original wooden structure deteriorated and replaced by the Chess and Checkers House building that we see here today. The recent restoration brings back as much of that design, of that original design, as possible. Inside Chess and Checkers House, back in the day before the restoration, you could engage with our volunteers. You can see one of them over here with a green shirt, or just like Central Park changes. Our experience as an organization also changes. Our uniforms have recently changed. They're still very green, as you can see from the shirt that I'm wearing. But back in the day, they were more uniform. At Chess and Checkers, visitors were able to gain more insights into the designs and history and attractions in Central Park, and also play chess and checkers, as you can see the pieces laid out on the tables here to the right-hand side. As it opened in recent times, the experience continues. If you visit from Mondays through Sunday, I believe, you north of 11 a.m., you will meet a volunteer here who will help you answer any questions that you may have, and also provide pieces so that you can engage in that now timeless activity here in the park. And you can see the chess and checker tables here outside to the left and to the right. Now, with the recent restoration, we also added this ADA accessible ramp when the Conservancy works to restore. Not only do we work to bring back original designs, we also work to increasing accessibility and also to provide more opportunities, in this case for volunteers who engage in horticulture to help us transform these landscapes, these sections season to season. Upon closer inspection on this particular flower bed here, we can see some New York asters. I was surprised to learn that these asters have as a symbolism associated lies. They are symbols of lies, and that's because at one time farmers believed that burning these plants repelled mosquitoes. However, mosquitoes seem to like the smell of this plant when burned, and as such, they are now symbolic of something that is not accurate, something that is actually a lie. In the vicinity of these asters, still showing their beautiful blue colors, we can see a plaque. Oops. Over here, distinguishing the Thompson Family Foundation, the organization that helped provide funding for the restoration of the dairy and the nearby attractions here at the dairy and the surrounding landscapes in the area as well. Thank you for your support, and thank you future volunteers who will be working in this very special section of the park. Now, as we proceed from this area here, I'm gonna now touch on how volunteers impact our landscapes and even our furniture a little bit, our benches. We have two more stops left. We'll be passing by the carousel, passing by the Hector ball fields as well. So to finish, just close to the perimeter of the park at Central Park West at around 66th Street. And this is how Chess and Checkers looks from a little bit of a distance. The plaque that I just distinguished is here to the left. The flower bed where those asters are still in view right now, is just right up ahead here. And I see that the audio is getting a little echoey here, so maybe I'll try to modify, not talk so fast, and hopefully this will help. I do apologize for any inconveniences. Do let me know, do let Carla will notify me if anything keeps going wrong. Carla, do notify me if this is better, if perhaps this space is, if at this space of speech is better. Now, when I was in this area here, I was wondering where the wildlife was. And I was surprised to find some squirrels just hiding by in the bushes over here, just right next to the Chess and Checkers. You can see one hiding over here. After a couple of seconds, when it noticed me, it just jumped, leaped out, and continued on its merry way. When it's raining, things can seem a little bit tamer, quieter, but if you pay close attention, you'll spot wildlife behaving in ways that you would traditionally not notice other times. Moving through, continuing west, we'll be going through Playmates Arch here. On the other side, we see the carousel. Another section with very nice flower beds with some interesting flowers still in bloom. Here we can see some sage, and also, I forget what the pink is. The pink is amaranth. I have to do a little bit more research and maybe learn some of the symbolism. There's always something interesting to view and explore in the park. Now, moving past the carousel here, we can see the Hector ball fields, and a very nice space to just enjoy open space in New York. We're usually cooped up in buildings and offices in the city, and Central Park is one of those spaces that, although clearly marked with clear demarcations, it helps create space, and our meadows are such spaces. Now, when it rains, our meadows close off, and you can tell when a meadow is closed by these red flags that are usually installed. You can also see that this particular meadow features several baseball diamonds. And connecting it to our volunteer theme today, last year in spring, actually April of 2022, MLB, Major League Baseball, collaborated in the park, provided, organized for several volunteers, about a dozen, I think 13 are pictured over here. And they worked for about 3 hours helping with the upkeep of the park. They also contributed over $7,000 to help in the upkeep of the park. So yes, we also have volunteer opportunity for corporate events. If you work for a company, let them potentially know of volunteer opportunities in Central Park and see how that enhances your work experience. Let's see. Now, moving about, baseball is an spectator sport, and there are many benches lining the edge of this metal over here. Benches in parts are maintained by our volunteers. Just this weekend, rain and all, volunteers engage in helping weeding under benches in another area of the park, not this particular area, but eventually this area as well, Hector Ball Fields, will also be worked in this manner. Last thing we want is to have creepy crawlers crawling up our visitors' bags over here. And this is an image over here of those volunteers and sitting on those very benches that they helped work, and again enhancing that park experience. Sometimes we take it for granted. We can come to the park and just sit on a bench, but a lot goes into caring for those benches, weeding and even painting them as well. There are volunteer opportunities where you can paint benches in the park. Now, moving along just west of the Hector Ball Fields, there's another arch. This one is called Dalehead Arch. Again, it's been raining a lot. This particular road over here under Dalehead Arch is very muddy right now. It looks very muddy, but that's because this is a bridle trail. This was built specifically for horseback riding in the park. And I talked about that crescendo of experience in the park. We saw Cup Cut, uh, then we saw chess and checkers house. And moving along, we are now connecting to a section of the park where you can potentially even bring a horse if you can so bring one into the park and remove yourself further from the stresses of a city life. Now, this is how the landscape is looking on the other side, or was looking just a couple of days ago on the western side through Dalehead Arch. As you can see, very gray. The grass is looking very healthy relatively. And just a couple of weeks ago, in preparation for this walk, I connected with a group of volunteers who who generally work every Wednesday, and they engage in from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. in different sections of the park, and they were here preparing for this patch that we can see here. It doesn't look like something too substantial, but this is very special in the sense that it helps add contrast to the landscape and helps provide for, how would I word this, a more for a better park experience, in the sense that it helps the landscape and again adds contrast to the visitors' experience. And this is how this very section was looking about 2 weeks ago. Don't be deceived, it looks very beautiful and green. The sun was out. The temperature was north of 90 degrees Fahrenheit. And as I got closer to it, I saw about a dozen of our volunteers who gather on Wednesdays. They were led by Ivan, one of our volunteer coordinators. If I am getting any of the titles wrong, I do apologize, but they were here since they got here at 9 a.m. and began weeding this section, which for some time now had substantial growth. Upon closer inspection here, we see that activity taking place. They work together to help remove and bag everything that needed to be bagged. And they keep on that timeline. After they remove all the weeds, then they disperse these mounds that you can see over here, 3 of them. These are actually wood chips. And those wood chips help provide for a more permeable surface, help protect the roots of the trees that are in this vicinity, and again, just helps provide contrast into to the visitor when it comes to this particular landscape over here. So functional. The purpose of this work is functional, but it's also aesthetic, because as we know, Central Park is entirely designed, and that dynamic of design continues. to this very day. When I visited just a couple of days ago, this is how this very section is still looking. So the work is withstanding. Withstood pretty much that storm that we had over the last couple of days. This green that you see here to the left are some leaves that fell by the wind. But again, just beautiful contrast. It's almost as if the designers of Central Park knew that Instagram and smartphones were going to be very popular things into the future. Now, one thing that I was surprised about in this particular walk just a couple of days ago is that although we are in autumn, there is not a lot of evidence of fall just yet, other than the gray skies that we just had over the last couple of days. And this slide is a little bit out of order, so I do apologize. This basically just references the walk that we've covered. We're not gonna move to another location from here, but I do want to share that evidence of fall that I just witnessed after I thought about it. I was thinking, okay, so I'm engaging in this walk and it's fall, but no evidence of fall. But just at the end, from this very section over here, I noticed this sweet gum tree, and I noticed this patch of yellow here, and which is an early indicator of fall, the season that we've just entered. Now, volunteers will also work in coordination with our employees to help remove the millions of leaves that will just fall in the weeks ahead. They will also continue to work in the wintertime, helping us remove snow. Now, if you'd like to engage or learn more about the different volunteer opportunities offered by the Central Park Conservancy, log on to our website, centralparknyc.org/volunteer. Carla will be dropping that link in the information section. And up there, you can see the first options give you very flexible options that you can engage in. And scroll further down, and you can see our committed volunteer opportunities. Flexible opportunities are opportunities that once you go through the orientation, which is just single seating, you can learn, you can choose one and basically show up and do the work that is necessary. And for our committed volunteer opportunities, there's training involved. For example, if you want to be a greeter, there's training involved and shadowing other greeters as well. And it's a more informed process. Our committed volunteers are uniformed, so they are pretty much like staff, and we appreciate all of the work that they do. I myself, I've been with the Central Park Conservancy for about 5 years, and a lot of my understanding about the park has come from volunteer breeders, those working in horticulture, and at one time those who were working with us in interpretation and programming. Now, this is an image of our staff at our staff breakfast just a couple of months ago. We are about 400 employees. This is not everyone, but if we were to take an image of our volunteers, this crowd would be over 5 times bigger. We have over 4,000 registered volunteers, and some 300 of them work on a regular basis, hand in hand with our employees. Within this group of employees, 5 of them are specifically dedicated to the volunteer experience. I want to extend a special gratitude to Serena, Heather, and Jalen as well, who helped me profoundly in helping put this information and helping put this presentation together for you all to enjoy. Now, I know we have many locals, so if you are in the vicinity, if you are in New York, or if you'll be visiting in the days ahead, join me for an upcoming guided visit. I'm leading Seneca Village tomorrow, Iconic Views on Friday, and Movies in Central Park on Saturday. You can also connect to our website and see other days that we have available. I want to thank you. And thank you for joining us. You can learn more about the work that we're doing, again, by connecting to our website and also connecting to our social media sites. I'll be leaving the room open in the event that anyone has any questions. Let me know. I'll be more than happy to help you find answers. And I think I'll see you again, God willing, some 2 weeks from now on another virtual walk where we will be exploring Art Deco in the park. I'm very excited for that particular walk. Hopefully you guys connect and share the word. Let others know about the work that we're doing and these virtual presentations in particular. Have a wonderful afternoon wherever you are and whenever you're tuning into this presentation. Bye-bye.